News Now.
So, hey, welcome to Nerd News Now, everybody. I'm Kyle. That's Mark. That's Brainy. And this is Jen. And Miss Jen and I are very tired and hungry because we've been here all day. So maybe let's start the show.
Let's do it. This is Mark here, live from the South Coast. I got Brainy, I got Kyle, I got Miss Jen. We're teaching each other about soccer. Refs
Jen,
are bad in every sport.
Miss Jen, you said you couldn't handle this week. What happened?
Yeah. So now Greg Bear passed. Famous science fiction writer.
Ah. That explains why it's not on Hollywood Reporter.
It's like everybody I know, I swear. It's just like, am I next? I'm going to start looking at the obits for me.
I've done that. I'm not going to lie.
We had to recently talk about the passing of Kevin Conroy, and then we lost Jason David Frank, who was much beloved by the fan base of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I mean, a lot of people grew up with that show. So he's like their Green Ranger no matter what. And I know he was a friend of your store, Miss Jen. So condolences and condolences to the whole like Comic-Con community.
It's like one of those things that like I know everybody has this wherever they're living, that they have like a local celebrity that you kind of like claim as your own superhero. I think a lot of local people claimed him as theirs. And a lot of kids really looked up to him because he has local dojos, and it's just, his fan base is devastated.
So I guess from where I'm from, our local superhero is Klinger from MASH.
Jamie Farr.
Yeah, I mean, it would like the proportion of people who remember when it was Davey or Danny Thomas, like, has passed on basically. Like, everybody's like, didn't the guy who founded St. Jude come from here? Yes. But we had the guy with the dress from MASH, right? Yeah, we'll take him. So.
Toledo Mud Hens.
But they've not been good long enough to have a local superhero who played for the Mud Hens.
Yeah.
We don't have any celebrities around here, so.
No, not at all.
Not at all, none. One day you'll have one.
You guys, you just like turn around and you'd be like, I had a signing in my store today. Superman himself or whatever. I'm just like, we can't do that. It would cost us so much money to fly those people.
Actually, we try to, anytime a celebrity or sorts, anybody ever comes in, we try to be discreet as possible and let them shop, do whatever they can, We don't try to make a big hoo-ha about it as much as possible. But, secretly we're all like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
So who's come in that you guys have been showing out?
No one. We don't get celebrities around here.
So the big one for us was Ming Chen. I first met Ming because he came into my shop because my shop was next to a chili dog restaurant he liked. Essentially. And so it's like, oh, there's a comic book shop by the chili dog stand. Let's not think about why there's a comic book shop next to the chili dog stand, but he stopped in and it was like, I'll share about your store on social media. And we're like, great, we'll share it when you share it. And a month later, he shared it.
Like, he shares about the food stuff. He shares about food things every day.
Right. But it's like, bro. And as it turns out, he didn't want people to be able to figure out that he was in our area. Like, he was on a family vacation. He wasn't working. He wasn't doing anything. And like, if he started posting that he was in Toledo and Ann Arbor and people would have figured out where he was. So he posted when he got back to work, which is fair. But it's like, dude, I've been sitting on this for like way longer than I wanted to be.
But tell me more about this chili dog restaurant.
Yeah.
You know all about this chili dog restaurant, Mark.
I do?
Yeah, it's called Tony Paco's.
Okay.
It's the one from MASH. It's the one Corey was always talking about in MASH. We were by one of their other locations.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So.
Because I can't figure out if I like hot dogs or not. And being the age I am, I don't know if I'm ever going to figure it out.
Mark, have you ever had a Chicago dog? Like actual Chicago?
Yeah, they're all right.
I learned a
like
thing about Chicago hot dogs. The reason you don't put ketchup on a Chicago hot dog is because all the crap they put on their hot dogs
Mhm.
is supposed to emulate the taste of the ketchup that you would put on if you lived other places.
So the celery salt and the tomato and the
Yes.
pickle spear. Okay.
I'm like, can you just keep all your crap and give me ketchup?
Look, the only thing that belongs on a hot dog are onions, chili, and mustard. That's it.
You're clearly not Polish enough for this, Brainy.
And sauteed mushrooms, sauteed onions, and bacon.
Oh,
And
yeah, I
cheese,
agree. With you.
cheese,
No, no
melted
bacon.
cheese. Okay,
It depends what kind of cheese.
melted.
Well, is it melted American, melted mozzarella, melted?
The
I'm
Mulholland
so
Drive
insanely
dog from
hungry.
Pink's is the Mulholland Drive dog from Pink's is my favorite hot dog I've ever had. But it had bacon on it.
Can we talk about not food? Otherwise, I'm going to order a pizza to be delivered in the middle of this show.
But that's fine. But I got one more because I need to ask Brainy a serious question.
Okay.
Have you pre-ordered your ice cream turkey from Baskin Robbins yet?
I have not.
Oh man, what are you doing? You love ice cream.
Brainy, you hear Brainy open a new tab and
I am.
color on the screen
Go
change.
there go in there to order my turkey, ice cream turkey right now.
Hey, I didn't even know we had a Baskin Robbins near me.
Oh, we've got tons.
Nice. We have one. Let's see. Now I'm trying. Order
Everyone's gonna
now.
try to order their ice cream turkey now.
You know what? I'm just gonna go pick it up when I'll just walk across the street.
I'm kind of
Okay.
afraid that Baskin Robbins has a hit out on me because I sold one of their employees.
Well, like a local employee though.
Well, okay, so it's not as mundane as, hey, I went in and I was like, you're a good employee, I'll take you. It was my son's roommate moved to town. I love this kid, right? He's already one of my children, and he goes and gets a job near campus, near their apartment, because he thinks it's easier for Alex, and he immediately dislikes the job because the boss is not a very kind boss, or one maybe it's harder to understand how they operate, I guess. And I was like, dude, why don't you work at my shop? And so very quickly he gave us 2 weeks notice and came to work here. Kyle wants this turkey ice cream, I can see.
It's not available at the closest store to me.
You can just order mine, Kyle. You can have it.
So now I got to see if it's available at the second closest store to me, which is the only one which is the only two within 100 miles.
I wonder if it's like a thing they make on a daily basis though, or get shipments.
Not available at the store nearest to me.
But yeah.
Brainy, is it available near you?
I don't know. I closed the tab down. My thing was running slow, so I'm like, I'll just go there. I'll just go there and pick one up.
Online ordering is temporarily unavailable for this.
Let's try.
Oh, I figured out why this is a thing and why I didn't know we had Baskin Robbins. These are combination Baskin Robbins Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh, okay.
I knew these places were Dunkin's. I did not know that they were Baskin Robbins's as well.
Interesting thing I learned. A lot of those franchises are basically part of a big group.
They're owned by the
Well, Baskin Robbins went in with, I guess, oh my God.
Is it Yum Brands?
Yum Brands has Dunkin' Donuts, and Baskin
Inspire Brands.
Inspire
Rusty's
Brands.
Tacos, Jimmy's John's, Buffalo's Wild Wings, Sonic's, Arby's, Baskin Robbins, and Dunkin's.
Yep. And then there's
So
another.
now I know who to complain to about my problems with the Buffalo Wild Wings.
Oh yeah, where you can't ever get what you want.
Yes. We went someplace else this week. I'm feuding now with Buffalo's Wild Wings.
And I don't know what I would do if I couldn't go get their buffalo mac and cheese.
Problem is that you can't get it even if you go there because they don't have it.
Why? What are you talking about?
My Buffalo Wild Wings in this football season, so since the start of the NFL season, has not been able to offer their full menu at all. Any Sunday. They either don't have beef or they don't have chicken and they don't have sides or they don't have. And now the problem is they have the stuff, but because they didn't have food, their numbers are so down they can't staff. So they got no one to run the grill. So it's a vicious cycle that's going to result in the closure of our Buffalo Wild Wings because I'm going to stand out front with a sign and say, close this location. Turn it into a Roosters or literally any other wing joint.
What's a Roosters?
Roosters is a local chain based out of Columbus. It's like Buffalo Wild Wings, only cheaper and better food.
Well, it sounds like the better option than anyway. Is there not one close to you? Is that the problem?
There is one, but it's 15 minutes. It's across town.
Oh, okay.
It's where I went last night, but still.
Welcome to Food Feud on Woodlands Online, sponsored by Space Cadets Collection.
And Baskin Robbins.
All right,
Well,
now
can somebody loan me $500K and they can't ask why?
Is that how much the ice cream turkey cake cost? Because yeah, you can.
No, that's how much it would cost to open a Dunkin' Donuts / Baskin Robbins.
And then you could get the ice cream turkey cake.
Just gonna start a comic book store that has that inside. Is that what you're doing?
I'm trying to find what their rules are in terms of locations.
It is very tough. Well, Baskin Robbins, I guess there's no. Never mind. I don't want to get into this anymore.
Brainy has looked.
Well, okay. I told you guys that I'm working on a new project with my brothers, right?
Yes.
A new what?
We basically signed an agreement with a franchise to open up Togos, basically. So we're bringing Togos into our neighborhood. So yes, we did research Baskin Robbins because Baskin Robbins at one point was teamed up with Togos.
I don't know Togos. What is Togos, Carrie?
It's a sandwich shop similar to Jimmy John's or Jersey Mike's. I don't know what you guys have in your area.
Oh, yeah, we have all of those.
Yeah. Togos is primarily in the Northern California. We still have a few in our area, but they disappeared. So we're like, hey, let's bring them back.
Someone should bring back Quiznos.
We actually contemplated that. We just like Togos better food.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Like,
as long as you don't bring back that Quiznos commercial with those freaky gerbil things.
The hamster rats or whatever. You don't like that?
here's the thing, right? If you're gonna open a Quiznos, call it something else, because it's like if you had tried to open a Domino's in the 90s, right? When it was literally the worst pizza you could buy. Sure, it was the cheapest, but you really didn't want to eat it.
Look, Quiznos wasn't that bad. It wasn't like the top of. It wasn't that bad. I've had much worse.
But in a world where Penn Station, Jersey Mike's, Jimmy John's, Togo's, all these other fast casual sandwich places exist,
yep,
it
is the worst.
No,
I haven't had a proof that the internet knows me. Quiznos freaky gerbils.
Yeah. And they had those scary weird voices.
I know. It's like they took taxidermy gerbils and put googie eyes on them.
I could be wrong, but I only remember in this area, I only remember Subway and Quiznos. So I think Quiznos broke everyone's brain by going, whoa, you can heat sandwiches? But the problem is they always burnt the bread.
Yeah, right.
So it was like the best and worst. It's that double-edged sword. And then Subway started heating their sandwiches, and it was over.
There's a down in Spring. There was a Firehouse sub that was there. there was the only one in the area for a long time, and I kept on telling him, if you move one up here into the Woodlands, I will frequent you all the time. And we finally got one. Those are good hot subs.
Those are good, but I don't know when that was established. That was well after.
Do you guys know how do you open a Buc-ee's franchise? Has anybody looked into that?
Have millions of dollars.
Because like I'm interested in having a gas station with good food in my area, but Sheetz says in order to open a Sheetz franchise, you have to marry one of the grandkids, and there are no available granddaughters.
Are there any attractive grandsons?
I know, right? I mean,
I haven't followed up on that email.
I mean,
But-
if it's a marriage of convenience, why not?
Every Sheetz is owned by a family member. Now, several of them own multiple locations, but you cannot franchise a Sheetz.
that was the case with In-N-Out for the longest time. It was a family owned. You couldn't get it. Now it's a
So I had emailed them going, hey, what would it take? Because I was talking to an investor about some stuff, and I go, what would it take? I think one would do really well near me here, because we have a lot of traffic and very few gas stations. And they go, so I emailed them. I found out they send that back, and I'm going, maybe I should call the Buc-ee's people. I could deal with brisket, but
yeah, we
Buc-ee's
actually
does not offer franchises at this time. As you may know, we don't take shortcuts with regard to the quality of our facilities, products, or staff. Franchises and publicly traded companies must constantly focus on the money, and the side effect can be reduced standards in exchange for increased profits. Our intention is to maintain our independence as a private company so we can continue to focus on the customers instead of the bottom line.
I'm gonna call a BS on that.
Okay. You can. That's just what it says on their website.
I mean, they can create franchises by doing absolute control on it. That there's no restrictions. Look at McDonald's. They've got absolute control on what they can do, what you cannot do there, and whatnot. So if they want, the way it's worded is basically saying, hey, we want absolute control on what we do. You can do that with a franchise. It's not always about the money. A franchisee is always going to look for two things: one, to feed their family, and second, to make a little bit of money. But they're doing it because it's their passion. They're not just doing it just because it's going to make them a ton of money.
If you guys could open any franchise, I mean, other than Brainy's living out his life right now doing it, what would you choose?
Look, seriously, if I had the opportunity to do any franchise, I would go for McDonald's. Primarily because it's well recognized. Everybody, everywhere in the world, everybody knows it, and they guarantee profits after a certain point. I mean, it's like $1 million profit after I think like 2 or 3 years. You never guarantee anything. The only thing that's ever guaranteed is the day you're born, you're guaranteed you're going to die one day. That's the only guarantee in the world. And McDonald's actually, guarantees you a certain amount of profit. But of course, to get the franchise, you got to be a millionaire already. And at that point, you're like, do I really need the headaches of running a restaurant? Interestingly enough, you can't do a Domino's either. You have to actually be an employee of Domino's to open up a Domino's franchise.
Yeah, Domino's is went to the Chick-fil-A model. For me, the answer has for the longest time been Wetzel's Pretzels.
Oh, heck yeah.
Because they're the best of the mall, food court, airport, pretzel conglomerates.
Yep.
Sheetz is real high up there, but of course, like I said, you got to marry in. Just because I know what a gas station would do here. Like it's one of those things is that it's like guaranteed profit, like for McDonald's. But if I had to pick something realistic, I would probably do a Shake Shack.
That's good stuff.
It is.
I don't know if it was 1993 Long John Silver's. but I don't know what about now. I don't know.
Togos.
I don't know what Togo's is. That's the problem.
Well, when
Brainy's just looking for investors.
well, okay, that's another challenge right now is because we're heading into a recession, banks are being a little bit more reluctant, and that's becoming a little frustrating too. They want high interests, and they want basically and again, I'm not saying, but this is basically how banks typically work. They want to ensure that their money's safe, and they want to earn as much money as possible. It's understandable. Everybody wants to be that way, but to a certain point, you're like, my kids are already grown. Do you really want them now? It's like my arm and leg. If you take that, how the heck am I going to be making my sandwiches? And the things they keep asking, like, what's the point? We have one of the big banks. It's myself and my brothers. We have a good relationship with them. They're and their response is, well, you need to have the business already running. And we're telling them, well, we need the funding to get all the equipment there. But you guys have no experience in restaurants, so you need to have the business running for a few years, and then we'll loan you the money. I'm like, well, if we have the business running for a few years, why the heck are we going to need the money?
Well, you do.
Right, you need 10 years of experience for this entry-level position?
Basically, yes. And this project had actually started off with us just goofing around. And we're like, hey, let's open up a Jack in the Box. And we started looking up the requirements for Jack in the Box, and it basically you had to have experience in the restaurant industry. I'm like, okay, well, that goes like, so why don't we get it experience? Like, hey, anyway, long story. Hey, ooh, Tony's. We're going to Tony's now.
Well, that's I guess it's a local chain because it started in Montgomery over here, and they've expanded to 2 locations. So that would be the place for me, just because they have the absolute best Italian sandwiches. At least being deep in Texas here. So
what's stopping you?
Money and knowledge, and not liking to cook.
Well,
Mhm.
Well, that's one of the beauties of franchising, though. They teach you how to make that stuff. So, and they give you, basically a cookie cutter template.
My choice is easy. It's Chick-fil-A.
I will tell you that is it is the single easiest franchise to get into. But the problem with it is that you've got to do your time in the Chick-fil-A world.
Mm-hmm.
And, that is the hard part. The pastor of my church actually left the church to go to work for Chick-fil-A. Because, well, he could make a lot more money doing that. And he was fast-tracked for his own store and all of this kind of stuff. And he's still waiting. They've yanked him around because they have so much control over how that all goes that he can't just go, okay, I've got the money, let me do it. No, they buy the land, they build the building, they put all the equipment in, they determine your first truck, like all that kind of stuff. And he's like, it would have been easier for me just to get a loan and start a chicken restaurant than it will be to start the easiest franchise to open.
It would have been even easier to marry someone's cousin from Sheetz or whatever.
That's what I'm saying.
What it sounds like. That's what it sounds like, the easy ticket.
That's what I'm saying. Currently, Jack in the Box cannot tell me where the closest Jack in the Box is to me, but I really want Jack in the Box.
Call
Right,
Grubhub.
let's not talk about food. Let's talk about movies or something.
Well,
Guys, we did it.
Yes.
Have a show about food already. Hey, but I mean, we could just make it the whole hour. It'd be easy.
I saw the Black Panther.
I saw your rating system. I was
Yeah.
actually impressed because you don't give Marvel movies ratings like that.
I don't give many movies ratings like that.
Mm-hmm.
It is the best superhero film I've ever seen.
What things about it appealed to you? Because you usually are hard to make happy in the superhero world.
Well, one, Black Panther Wakanda Forever is not a book or story I have read. Now, I think one existed called Wakanda Forever, but I haven't read it. So I have no expectations going in, which immediately helps, right? It's why you don't name your movie Civil War and then don't tell the Civil War story, right? If you're going to name it after one of the most read stories, you have to do that, right? If they'd called it Black Panther in Outer Space, I would have had more expectations because I had read the Ta-Nehisi Coates Black Panther run where he was in space. Anyway, with all of those movies, I separate my emotional response to the movie from how good the movie is. Because I'm a mark. Not Mark like that Mark, but like Mark like the wrestling term Mark. I'm just so excited we live in a time where the big blockbusters are superhero movies that I'm going to have a positive emotional response to the worst superhero movie. So now I have to look at how good the movie is. Right? On its own, aside from my emotional response. I've been saying this to people and they don't believe it. If it was based on emotional response, Dude, Where's My Car is the greatest film ever made.
We're not Paddington 2?
No. Dude, Where's My Car is the first movie I ever took a girl to and paid my own money to see.
Aww.
So like it's this emotional touch point for me. Anyway. I could not separate my emotional response from this movie from the storytelling. You're not able to separate your emotions from the movie itself because the whole movie is that, right? The action wasn't particularly good, but it wasn't bad. It would have been a 500 movie, except that the way it told a story, you can't have this story without having an emotional response. So I was forced to put my emotional response into that movie, and it's a movie that made me cry 3 times. So that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I did have to dock it a whole point later because the gang from Cherry Capital Comic Con are math bullies. But other than that, my post was 4.25 out of 5 or 9.5 out of 10. Which isn't how the math works. And so Pat and Rob, who are the guys who run Cherry Capital Comic Con, go, your math doesn't work. And I go, fine, I'm docking the movie a whole point because Pat and Rob are bullies.
That was what that discussion was about.
Yeah, they're math bullies. No, it's Black Panther, Shazam, Black Adam. Top 3. And this is the other thing I've been saying to people, and I it's hard to kind of put into words that humans can understand. If I had to buy physical media, I would not buy Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Nope, don't need it. I would buy Black Adam. Black Panther is a better movie. But Black Adam I can put on and like ignore. Or I can put on and watch and enjoy it however, you know. This is a movie that you have to sit and watch and live with and live in it. You know, it's like Ghostbusters Aftermath, right? Like I bought it and I've never it's still got the plastic on it. I bought the Blu-ray. And I've got to be in just the right emotional state to watch that movie. Same with the Black Panther movie. So I would just as soon buy Black Adam as buy Black Panther. So my review is very nuanced, but it probably makes sense only to me. But it was one of the most devastating and enjoyable afternoons of the movies I've ever had in my life.
I just have to say, if Angela Bassett and I'm going to not be able to say her right name, but the sweet woman that plays Okoye, for that one scene alone.
Oh, Lupita Nyong'o?
Yes. for that one scene alone, if they do not win some kind of award, I don't understand acting awards.
Brainy, you muted yourself and then never unmuted yourself before starting to re-talk.
I gotta stop doing that, don't I?
Yes, you do.
Just let the parakeets play.
Yeah, they get too loud. I'm just like, oh my god. But Angela Bassett should have won a lot more awards than she has throughout her career. I mean, she's been robbed a few times.
So I'll tell you, the moments that got me were the beginning up through the Marvel role, which was different for this movie. The scene kind of starting there with the Queen and Okoye in that moment, but really going through the beginning of or going through the end of the first interaction with Namor when he comes to Wakanda. The first big action sequence. I don't want to spoil it, so I'm trying to dance around like the easy touch points here. But when Namor comes to Wakanda, the first big action sequence, the end of that. So I cried both of those times because that was just so hard to watch. And then the post-credit scene just deflated me entirely. Oh, like I'm folded over in my chair, just like losing it. So it is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful movie. And it earns Ryan Coogler a spot in the I don't care what you make, I will see it category.
Is he directing Creed 3 off someone else?
I haven't seen the first two Creed movies. I don't know why anyone would see a movie based on that band, but I don't know.
But you just said he got to that level, so does that mean
right? But I don't know if he's
or?
directing it because I haven't watched the first two.
So we need to make sure he directs the next Iron Man movie, which would force Kyle to watch it after what he just said. We have him on recording stating that he will watch whatever he makes.
Yeah. I mean, that doesn't mean I'll like it, but I'll watch it. I don't like everything the Wachowskis make, but I still watch it.
So without spoiling anything, how much of the movie's dedicated to, I guess, Black Panther himself?
Like Black Panther as in the character, or Black Panther as in T'Challa, or Black Panther as in Chadwick Boseman?
Black Panther as well, I guess T'Challa and Boseman, I guess, because they basically said Boseman was going to be T'Challa, period, right?
2 hours and 41 minutes.
Out of 2 hours and 43 minutes of the movie?
Yes. There are 2 minutes of the movies where it's credits.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I assumed.
I mean, Jen, you saw it, right? Like, you went with your crew and saw it. Like, is that an accurate amount? Like, the whole movie kind of lives in that space it's about him.
Yeah.
Even if it's not really, about him.
It really is all of Wakanda trying to figure out what happens next. Not necessarily just trying to figure out who leads them, but with the destruction of the one way that they create a panther, that seems cut off to them. So not only have they lost a ruler and not have a clear line, they don't have a way, the way that would normally go about such a thing is lost to them as well. So the entirety of them as a people feels very crushed. Like they don't know a path forward 100%. And then they get thrown into this like the confrontation, which they didn't know that these people even existed. And all of a sudden they're up in their face about it.
Yeah, it's the whole movie is the steps of grief, right? Like the whole movie lives in that. If you've ever experienced a traumatic emotional loss, the whole movie takes place in that. So there's no part of it that's not about T'Challa or the Black Panther or Chadwick Boseman. There's just everything is it. I would say until the post-credit scene, which is directly about him, but isn't in a way.
Mhm.
So. Should we talk about other things now? Have we bummed everyone out?
That's not bummy. It's a good.
I mean,
story.
it isn't, but it kind of is.
Well, Kyle, the way you described, I haven't been able to see it yet, but the way you described that movie is the same exact emotions I have towards the movie Life is Beautiful with Roberto Benigni. It's like greatest movie ever. Won't ever watch it again. Can't do it.
Yeah, there's a few on that list. You know, Life is Beautiful, Schindler's List, Shawshank Redemption. I think I watched it twice. Probably will never watch it again. Just because the story's already been, I already know exactly what it's all about.
Yeah.
I will never, ever, 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 ever watch Napoleon Dynamite for sure.
Because did it trigger that same emotional response for you, or what?
Yeah, that's it. If it's like, what the hell am I watching?
It's just that tater tots in the pocket scene that gets you every time.
I don't even know what part of that movie that scene is in.
It's the waste of a perfectly good steak.
I swear, man.
Yeah.
Even if you offered me $1 million, I probably won't go and get past the first 5 minutes of that movie.
So, okay, let's move on to other. Bob Iger. I feel like we should probably talk about this. Bob Chapek is out at Disney and Bob Iger is back at Disney. He has signed a 2-year contract to return as the CEO of Disney. And rumor is that Disney is in negotiations with Michael Eisner to return as the CEO after him. And we're just going to keep going back until the reanimated corpse of Walt Disney is the CEO of Disney again.
Exactly.
I really thought I'd get more out of that joke from someone.
Sorry.
Well, the way people are talking about there actually being dinosaur DNA being reproduced, so you never know, man. They might just bring Walt Disney back,
right?
Question is, do we want to?
Right. In this time of never mind, I'm not going to make that joke.
But it is an interesting move. We knew Disney was going to make a move with a $1.x billion loss. It's expected, but did not expect this kind of a move.
Yeah.
I don't know if he left on favorable terms or not originally. I thought it was just that he was retiring or whatnot, but hey, you never know. But for him to come back, I don't understand how much he's going to be able to do in the next 2 years, because a recession is looming. And Disney's got money in so many different aspects of everything. If one sector takes a hit, they're taking big hits. Like just right now, Disney Plus taking a big hit. $1.x billion, even for that company, is still a lot of money. Even though they've got enough cash in their banks to cover those losses, it's still a huge chunk of money for them to write off. I think that was just a quarter, right? It wasn't a year. Yeah, it was just the third quarter. But how big of a change can they make? They already own Star Wars. They already own Marvel. I doubt the Justice Department's going to allow them to buy out DC and Warner Brothers. They possibly could make a run for Sony. I don't know. But beyond that, I cannot see what big changes can they make in the next 2 years that will bounce them back in a huge way.
I don't think they can, but I think what bringing back Bob Iger does is it stabilizes. Right? He's someone who knows the terrain and can step into the role, even if it is just to, for a little while, drive a sinking ship in that regard. Like, Disney too big to fail, don't get me wrong. But like, even if he's just the guy who's at the helm for a minute while they take 2 years to find the next visionary to lead Disney, right? Like, it's why you hire your old manager back after they've left, while you search for your new manager, right? Like, institutional memory is something. So, if nothing else, he can steady the ship and maybe keep it from running aground. Whereas if they just went out and hired somebody new, they could hire me and it could be a nightmare. Also, Disney, if you're listening, I'm available as CEO. I have no qualifications. I have no literally nothing, but I'll do the job. And I'll do it for a fraction of the price Bob Iger will.
He will also be the CEO of the mailroom for sure.
Right. Can you get me a Sheets franchise while we're at it? No, that was kind of big news, like I thought. So, should we talk about new comics that are in stores this week or out this week?
I think I was going to say I think we need to talk about pizza more.
No, I'm so hungry.
I bought a Pizza Papa T-shirt.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it says Pizza Papa, and then it's Marlon Brando's face from The Godfather. And this is Pizza Papa always gets paid.
That's a great mashup.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm like, I could get behind this mashup. I also had to buy my one of the 24-hour T-shirt sites every year does a bunch of ugly holiday T-shirts.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I had to buy my annual ugly holiday T-shirt, and this year it is what one was it? It was it was a Black Adam ugly holiday pattern. So it's just the Rock's face on every other line, or tiny Rock faces, I guess. So I'm pretty happy.
Does it at least say "Rocking Around the Christmas Tree" or no?
No.
The fail.
No, I forget what it even says now. But it's a reference to right. Tell him the man in black sent you. Or whatever,
okay.
Like it's that. So we'll see. I really want to get the line from that movie. I want to get a T-shirt that says "Catchphrase first, then kill" on a T-shirt.
Hey, we just had the AMAs as well, right?
The Ask Me Anythings? American Medical Association?
I guess we don't care.
I mean, we do, but just you and me.
Also, the Walking Dead series finale was on yesterday.
That show is still on?
I know, right?
Hey, it's not going anywhere because y'all were talking about Denai Guerrera, and the best part of the episode. I mean, I'm assuming no one cares. The best part of the episode was the 3-minute tease of the Rick and Michonne show. So,
is it called Rick and Michonne, and is it written by?
It's called Rick and Michonne.
Is it written by the guy who wrote Community, Dan Harmon?
No,
it's not a Rick and Morty spinoff.
No,
I'm out.
Okay. Also, not that anyone but Kyle would want to talk about this, but I ordered my first ever wrestling pay-per-view.
Was it AEW Full Gear?
It was.
And?
Well, let's put it this way. I had started a little late because I don't know how pay-per-views work. I assumed you can rewind. You can't. I was able to watch the match I missed later, but the second I turned it on, Jade Cargill came out as Chitara from Thundercats. So that's about how the night went. So it was awesome.
It really is. And by the way, Nyla Rose, who she fought in that match, has a book out from Marvel right now and another one coming.
She writes, or she did at least like an X-Men one shot, right?
Yeah, that's the book she has out, and she has another one coming.
Oh, okay, yeah. But it was great. The build up, the whole MJF thing, and the payoff, and
The best
and I
match
can
was
talk about
actually,
it
in my
sometime.
opinion, the best match was actually on the pre-show.
Really, the 505 or the
No, Eddie
no?
Kingston.
I thought you meant Danhausen and his jar of teeth, because that was amazing also.
That was amazing, but no, that was not it. Eddie Kingston's match in the Japanese old road style was insane.
But that trios match, though, I mean, they were all good. They were all awesome. The
Right,
cage match
AEW
was
does a really
great.
good job.
The trios match was phenomenal.
By the way, Luke Perry's son is one of the most phenomenal professional wrestlers I've ever seen in my life.
He's good. That match was great. That
Jungle
match
Boy
was
Jack Perry is his name, and he is an incredible wrestler. So, all right, new comics.
Take out Miss Jen.
What? Oh, I did. I'm on. So I had a really great interview today with the creative teams of the 2 Frank Miller Presents books that are out this week. And I got to read advanced copies, and I will tell you that I like them both very much. But I don't know, they're very different, because Ronin 2 just hits me right in the Lone Wolf and Cub vibes. They even talked about the art style that they were told by Frank to kind of like think about or go for was in that vein, so they did their jobs. But I'm really going to do that. And plus it's in black and white, and I'm such a sucker for a black and white book. Mostly because I started in comics when that's what the jam was. And the Ancient Enemies book, which is Dan DiDio's creation, just feels like a book and series that's going to go big and wide and deep. I think they have lots of plans for backup stories and
world building. They kept using the word world building.
It is a definite world building start. You can see it.
Yeah, I haven't read them yet, but I looked at them because they sent them to me too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very excited to. Jay and Dan also have them, so we're going to read them for review for tomorrow.
Oh, perfect.
But I'm very excited to sit down and kind of get into that. And believe it or not, these 2 are not the book I'm most excited about from Frank Miller Presents. So I'm very excited about Pandora. I think Emma Kubert's a genius, and I'm excited for that, but that's not out until December 7th. By the way, I was pretty excited for Bad Idea. I've been pretty excited for other publishers. I've never memorized release dates ever for anything. And I definitely have for Frank Miller Presents.
Well, that says something.
Yeah. Other books that I'm looking at this week. Kill Shot Unleashed #3. If we hadn't done the thing with Dan and Frank Miller Presents, Titan has Kamen Rider. This is the Kamen Rider 01, which is Brandon Easton written Kamen Rider. I'm looking at what else was on my.
Are you reading 8 Billion Genies?
I never was, because I ordered #1, but it was the one that was messed up.
Oh.
Well, and so when my shop got more in, I'm waiting on the trade for it. Really is the answer to that one.
That makes sense. There's a local comic shop day, a version of the #1 that's going to come out where it's like the genie itself is kind of like empty, so you can paint whatever you want in there.
Then I may try and pick that one up when I go out for local comic shop day, but I figured I'd just wait for the trade on that one. There's a bunch of stuff that's like late run that I'm interested in this month or this week. Things like This is the problem. I just had it in my brain. Oh, Siren's Gate #2, and finishing up the Rocketeer that's been out. But #1 wise, Foulness in the Walls from Aftershock.
That sounds so cool.
Yeah.
The thing
And
that I'm interested in is that they've got a Dark Horse has a hardcover that's in the Star Wars universe called Star Wars Tales from the Ranker's Pit. I feel like it was one of those books that was easily kind of missed maybe in the ordering, so you might be wanting to be at your local comic shop early to get it.
also on my list, what's the furthest place from here? #8 and Vanish #3.
Mm-hmm.
I got to meet Frank Uzan, who is the variant cover artist on Vanish, who's really cool Israeli comic artist at Baltimore Comic Con. For me, trade wise, Conan the Barbarian, the original Marvel years. It's the last of the Barry Windsor Smith Conans.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and Illustrated Al. It is the illustrated Weird Al, the songs of Al Yankovic. There are 2 covers. I ordered them both.
I feel like forever ago they solicited the Star Wars Yoda book, and it's just now coming out. Maybe it's just the way my perception of time is.
If economically, I didn't order this book, but I really want to. So if someone wants to buy it for me, it's Love and Rockets, the first 40th anniversary collection hardcover. It's a box set of Love and Rockets. MSRP is $4.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's a $400 box set. Huh?
I said it's $1, $2, $3, $4.
Yeah, it's a $400 box set. Love and Rockets is great, but 400 is a lot to spend on that.
I give you discounts.
I will get it eventually. Don't get me wrong, but like, it's one that I had to like make an economic decision on, and I don't like doing that when it comes to my comics.
I'll give you a discount, $399.95.
Appreciate that, Brainy. And when I'm ready to buy it, I will take you up on your discount.
For all the families out there with kids, or I'm sure kids aren't watching this late, but the new Cat Kid is going to come out, which I love. I love the whole Dogman universe.
The percentage of the book market that is Dave Pilkey is just obscene.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if the book market is $1 billion industry, Dave Pilkey is 998 million. Like, it's almost all Dave Pilkey.
He understands kids and what kids like, because literally, like, you'll see kids run over to the book section and look at Dogman. They're like, I already have all these. When's the next one coming?
My business partner Amanda, her boyfriend has a kid who is 12, and he's read all the Dogmans, he's read all the Cat Kids, and he's read all of the other things. So I've had to go to my friends who are indie creators who work in that realm, and like, he's read all the Underfoot, and he's like, we're running out of stuff. So if anybody is watching this and is, a person who works in the YA kind of realm like that, and you want to make some books, that'd be really helpful. It's hard to shop for this kid.
I just want to say, this is just me thinking that I read this in an email directly from Z2 today, and I may have misunderstood what they were saying, but it shows that the local comic shop day Tori Amos cover for Little Earthquakes releases this week but I swear that the email said that
It's
the
delayed.
printing process is delayed.
Yep, we're seeing that on a lot of the books. Well, not a lot, but a few at least of LCSD books that are being delayed.
Mm-hmm.
Which kind of bites because it's supposed to be this Wednesday, right?
Yes, and or Small Business Saturday. I usually do my Small Business Saturday, but they've been kind of like coming out or coming to us in such weird spread out manner. I've just been selling them when they come out.
Yeah, I thought it was Saturday because it's always the same day as Record Shop Day, and we go Record Shop Day, comic book store, Record Shop, comic shop, Record Shop, comic shop, all the way to Ann Arbor, have dinner, and then come back. So it's a 6 comic shop, 6 record stores in one day kind of trip.
Well, that would be fine if we weren't living in the era of the Wild West.
Correct. So, I'm gonna need one of y'all to hold me that Tori Amos book.
I think I ordered mine straight from Z2. So
believe it or not, one of my first jobs was working with Tori Amos.
What? Tell us more.
When I was 14 years old, I played on a studio session for Tori Amos. So
that's way cool.
I never met her, but she totally signed the check.
That's all that matters.
And you kept a copy of that check, right? It's framed on your.
I was 14. I didn't know who Tori Amos was. I mean, I have a print off from the bank, like of the scan.
And I doubt any 14-year-old today knows who Tori Amos was.
Right. All right. Anything else for the good of the order?
Yes.
Just a sentimental favorite. I know this book is fizzling out, but G.I. Joe number 300 comes out. So that's the end of an era that will not be with IDW anymore. Larry Hama has teased that he'll go wherever the book goes, so we'll see.
Which is Dark Horse. Or is it going to Image?
I don't know. I'm hoping Skybound.
I thought it was going to Dark Horse. Watch, it'll wind up someplace like
So
Titan.
back to Dark Horse? Maybe.
So. All right. Brainy, you had a thing?
Yes. We've had 2 shows today that did not offer me pizza.
We talked about it an awful lot both times. And you couldn't see it.
The buffet was out of pizza. You got there too late.
You couldn't see it, Brainy, but Jen talked about your pizza, and then Mel Gadori was in the comments on YouTube going, I just pulled the pizza out of the oven. Just come over.
I missed that one.
You could have pizza with Mel and Mog. So.
I missed that one. Dang it.
All right, Mark, if you don't mind, I'll read the thing this week.
Go for it.
Because I like the way my voice sounds in my microphone. Thank you for watching Nerd News Now, part of the Kingdom of Geekdom on Woodlands Online, sponsored by the Adventure Begins Comics and Games and Space Cadets Collection. Check out other shows on Woodlands Online, like Weekly Fallout Sports Talk, The Adventure Begins Show, 4 Reels, The Best You, Between the Trees Business Talk, and much more. You can watch all these on Woodlands Online and on our partner station, KVQT HD21, over the air on your TV, and add everything on streaming right now if you just search and add Woodlands Online to your Roku device. Now you can listen to our podcast versions of this show on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Podcast, and Amazon. I have to say, I tried to add Woodlands Online to my Roku device, only to find out I don't have a Roku device anymore. I'm going to keep talking because everybody's frozen, and I could see Mark was starting to go. For Jen and Brainy, I've been Kyle. This has been Nerd News Now.